Just let me know. Will you be able to tell right away?
Not right away, but I'll let you know.
I'm actually before I actually tell them what the episode's about, I'm just gonna give it a couple seconds. So we're good here. Let me know if you can hear me. And then when that happens, if we got go time, then I will bring the intro back. Any type of volume yet? We got anything? Nothing? Is Danny inside? Because we might...
Nope, he's at the fort.
He's at the fort? Okay. Does this do anything?
No.
Okay. Do we have AJ's phone number that we can call?
Yeah.
We can sign language the whole episode.
Here.
Babe, I'm just
now.
gonna keep talking. I don't know much about this stuff, but I'm gonna start messing with stuff. Oh, okay. What time is it? Hey, bro, real quick, we're trying to get on the air again, and I have failed again. Yeah, we're on, but we have no volume.
When it says something went wrong, it just says we went on again. Now. Just now.
They can't hear you?
No. Audio's good? Kevin Schmidt said audio's good. Babe, is your
Kevin Schmidt.
Kevin Schmidt, give me a thumbs up in our thread real quick.
If you can hear us, buddy.
If you can hear us. Do you have that pulled back up yet, Kendra?
Yeah.
Alright, so let's see what we got.
Super fan, Kevin Schmidt. We good, baby?
Click on it real quick, because then we can hear the volume if we're on there.
Yep, we're good to go. We're live. Kevin Schmidt says we're good to go.
Alright, that was...
We are back! We are back! We are getting Doug back!
Alright, so we'll just cut that planned pregame show off here. Alright, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Them Sports Boys, episode 21, Omaha.
2.A.
Yes. I'm one of your hosts back here, and I have, as always, my co-host, Jose Moore, back over here.
Like I said before, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come.
All right, and we have two wonderful guests with a wonderful story here that we will get to in just a second. We'll talk about the man and a half down. I don't know if you could read my lips, but we are missing the armadillo in Ozzy Love. He's saving people in downtown Frederick right now. And our mascot, #Billroy, who is, I don't know, he might be shooting hoops. I have no idea.
I didn't say this before, but I had the liberty of seeing Mr. Ozzy Love in his element, in the wild today, 2 times on the road,
Really?
driving an ambulance around.
Was it? What?
It's quite a rare event, but it touched my heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I knew he was actually out there doing his thing.
It's weird to see an armadillo with a beard.
It is.
You know, it's just crazy. But we do have we did since our test run there a minute ago gain a very loyal and longtime friend in Mr. Coach Dave Sowers out here in the audience again. And he just brings a good show every time, so you're in for a good one, people. We have Mikoto-san in the house behind the scenes. Hey, look at that! Look at all the people out there. Yeah, this is for you. And then we have Mikoto-san behind the scenes. Carla Pallavicino, as always. She doesn't get mentioned much. And I'll introduce Kendra and Dan Sullivan, who are sitting right here to my right, and Jose's left. And we'll get a chance to talk to them and hear their story. It's a pretty good one. But before I do that, I was halfway through this last time, but I think I made it a little bit better here. So this episode, this one's for Little D, is brought to you by one of our sponsors, Shuck and Shack. And I'm going to tell you about every Thursday at Shuck and Shack. Okay? Join Them Sports Boys every Thursday for their OT show, which stands for overtime, at their after party at the Shuck and Shack starting at 7:30 p.m. So we leave here at 7, we get done. I don't know, Coach Dave, I'm thinking probably 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven, right there. Not Sheets, 7-Eleven. So we got 19 minutes to get there. While you're waiting for us to get there, if you get there and, give us 7:41. But I'll give you something to do while you're waiting. While you're waiting for a wild shucking time, like and share our episode with your status saying important. Meet me at the Shack right now for their OT shindig. Okay? I want you to tag Shuck and Shack Oyster Bar as your location when you share it. And that will actually win you one ticket into our giveaway from our sponsor, Shuck and Shack, which is going to be, we'll give you the dollar amount at the end of the show, a free bar tab for tonight's OT show.
Could I just throw one more SH in there?
Yes.
Sweepstakes.
Sweepstakes. That's beautiful. My original
You like
one.
that?
My original one was Shuck and Shack.
Sharing.
Celebration. Shindig champion.
Champion. That's what it was.
Champion.
Let's go with
You know,
sweepstakes. I
sign
like
it.
sweepstakes.
Like-
Minus the C. Minus the C though.
But that's what you gotta do, people. Mikoto-san over here is gonna post the actual rules because it's gonna get a little tricky. But we're gonna figure this out in the next couple weeks because it's gonna happen every single Thursday at 7:30 p.m. and it's gonna be a wild shucking time, and it's gonna be a chance to win a free bar tab, meet some local great people in this community, as you're about to hear about here in just a second, from Dan and Kendra here, and there's gonna be some good stuff. But once again, we're brought to you by Shuck and Shack. It's a good shucking time. So, to fully introduce Dan and Kendra here, they have helped create, obviously, and help raise awareness, an event, a fundraiser, a bucket list. People, it's crazy. You're gonna have to go to their Facebook page, which Carla will post here in a second when she gets a chance. And you already did?
Uh-huh.
Nice. See, she's on it.
She's on it. Couldn't do it without you.
But honestly, people, you actually can't talk about enough that you guys have done, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But just when you get a chance, click the link. But it's called Little D on the Monocacy is the event that's coming up on April 29th, and it's on the Monocacy River. And I'm done, guys, right now. So let's turn it over to you guys for a second. I'll ask you questions, but I want you to be able to get to the gist of everything out there, everybody. So tell us about, how everything started, just a brief summary of everything about Little D and what you guys have learned from it and kind of where it's going, and then we'll poll the audience after that. Audio's good.
We'll
Kevin
jostle
Schmidt.
back and forth. Yep.
Right in, people. Right in, people.
Well, I think in May 2nd, 2013, Little D, who's my nephew and Danny's son, was diagnosed with metachromatic leukodystrophy at the age of 2.5, and doctors gave him 6 months to 3 years left to shine.
This is 2014.
2013. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're blessed.
Sorry.
We're just approaching 3 years.
Okay.
At the time of diagnosis, we were looking at 6 months' time. Daniel has since, within 6 months, he lost his speech, his mobility. He's since losing his vision, his hearing, and dementia soonly will set in. In the midst of losing his faculties, what's truly tragic is that he suffers from chronic muscle spasms, severe pain. There's neurostorming, which is like seizure-like activity. So when Daniel was diagnosed, I, as an aunt, was always thinking of things I wanted to do with him, so I quickly just compiled a list, and I don't want to call it a bucket list. It seemed really insensitive for a 2.5-year-old.
Yeah, completely
But
understand.
Danny and his wife and our other family members quickly started to add to this list. And it just completely changed the course, I think, of his final days. It really gave us a reason to get out and celebrate. And what the beautiful thing was is that the community started to add to this bucket list. And Little D on the Monocacy is a beautiful reflection, I think, of that. It's the first canoe kayak race on the historical
You can keep that in
Monocacy
front of
River.
Dan, Joe. I'll move this in front of her.
And
Okay.
and
We
it-
definitely want to make sure people hear about this.
And it was actually started by one of Danny's good friends who just wanted to share his
I'll call
sport of paddling with Daniel. And so he created
Which
the
is
first race,
Steve.
which is Steve Corbett.
Call
I
him
don't.
right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what's his prefix. Is it sergeant, lieutenant,
It's
officer,
Sergeant.
Yep.
sergeant? I
Sergeant.
figured that he seemed like he was pretty decorated.
No, he's
human.
pretty smart, dude.
Saw a picture.
Yeah.
Saw his stature, his size. Looks like a strong man. I wouldn't
Hey,
want to
we're
harass
on
him.
live now. Hey, so this is Steve Corbett is the one who
Let's do it this way.
organized the race.
Steve
we went-
Corbett.
Hi.
Steve Corbett. This is Vec from Them Sports Boys. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, Zach. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, not a problem, man. Thanks for doing what you're doing, man. We're actually we just kicked off here our episode that we're dedicating to Little D, and we just got to the portion Kendra was telling us about kind of the backstory about little D, his diagnosis, and just the battle he's been fighting, and never giving up, and seeing the positive and everything. And then here comes Steve with an awesome way to slip a positive in there and bring the community in. So Kendra and Dan were starting to talk about where you came in, how it started, and what your intentions were, what your goals were. We just got through the bucket lists, and I think Kendra was saying insensitive, but Dan said...
Yeah, I think one thing that's really interesting about Steve and the timing of starting the race is that because of Daniel's diagnosis, no one truly knew how long we would have with him. So Steve actually started the first
bump that one
race
back over, Joe.
kind of outside of
We
the
still got
time
yours,
frame in which you generally would have a canoe and kayak race.
Mhm.
The first one was in September, and generally you really wait till April, because in April the weather's a little better, the water levels are a
So the
little
water
higher.
levels are definitely higher.
Yeah,
Yep,
the water
absolutely.
levels are higher. So really what
Monoxie's
happened...
not the deepest river.
It's not. And so what was amazing is that when Steve started in September, and he did it so Daniel could 100%, as a guaranteed be a part of this race, the water level was really low. And Steve's a competitive paddler, so a lot of really serious paddlers brought their really nice boats, and they were scraping the rocks, and
Right.
and I mean, and it was just amazing that they kind of ruined their boats a little bit, but they did it with just such heart and
Right.
spirit, and they did
Absolutely.
it just for Daniel.
In
I mean, that's-
absolute support. Yep.
And absolute support. So I
It says
think
a lot
that's
about him.
So, and this is
And they
Steve
came
isn't
from all
any
over the
relation to you guys at all.
No.
No. I went to the
No.
academy with them. We hit it off there.
Yeah.
Good deal.
And this is something that we always talk about with our first responders and our firefighters and our police out there. Is it truly is a brotherhood, and if you work with somebody, your family. And,
You still with us, Steve?
It's definitely a testament to Steve and the Frederick City Police Department that they're very close like this.
All right, so Steve, real quick, just hearing the little bit that I've heard about you, I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb and guess that nobody asked you to do this. Nobody asked you to start a foundation.
What's
or
up, Wayne
anything
Newman
like
and
that.
Shuck and Shack?
No, nobody asked me. I was just trying to think of
How's the
what
volume
I
on
could
that?
do to help out. Kendra had recently set up the Little D Bucket List webpage, and I saw the things that were on there, and there were people were putting in donations, but I thought, is there something that I can do, something that's kind of in my wheelhouse, that I can make as big of an impact as I can? And I thought, well, this is something I'm really familiar with, and I know how to do it, and let me see if I can get this done.
Good deal.
That's
So,
awesome.
as far as your initial goal, Steve, and I think I know, but I'm gonna ask you, where were you? What was your end goal? Where did you want to go? As far as, did you want to raise awareness? Did you want to instill hope in little D? I know it's probably all of it, but originally when you started, where were you going with it? Were you just dealing with the
Originally,
pain?
it was just trying to help the family meet the goals that they had established with the bucket list. So anything that I could do, with my part to help make, Daniel's time here with us as meaningful as possible. And I saw the ideas that friends and family put together and all the goals they wanted to achieve for him. And some of them were small and some of them were pretty significant. And I knew it would be expensive, and a lot of people were, contributing in any way that they could, their time, their money, their effort. And I just wanted to think about, well, what can I do? What's the biggest impact I can make? And I thought, instead of just, handing over some money that has a smaller impact, can I organize something to get people to come together and raise awareness and help achieve the goals of the bucket list? So that's where I started.
Now let me ask all three of you guys this. Now, as far as the bucket list, I know that we talked about, initially we didn't want to do it because it's kind of insensitive to do that, especially for someone that we're most likely going to lose that's 2.5. And it's difficult to even myself knowing about it, and I was very honest with you, I just found out about this on Tuesday. It was difficult for me knowing that little D was 2.5 when he got diagnosed. So I couldn't imagine what you guys were going through. So as far as the bucket list, how it started and how it got created, I know that they originally gave you 6 months.
Yeah.
Was that taken into account? Who created the bucket list as a whole?
I got
How many
this
people
one.
were involved?
So,
I got this
He
one.
said, I got this.
So So when you get a diagnosis like that, I mean, as a father and a mother, I mean, they send you home from the hospital, and you just, I mean, first of all, it's hard to physically walk out of the hospital with a diagnosis like that. Because, I mean, you hear that, and deep inside, you just want to, roll over and die.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, you have to be there for him. Mm-hmm. So, me and my wife, after the doctor told us, it was very clear that was, he was as helpful as he could be, but there's not a lot of answers to that. And so we were just like, all right, let's get up, and, left foot, right foot, we'll keep driving on. And but you go home, and I mean, you don't know what to do. You just know that you got to take care of him. He was super into M&Ms, so it was like he called them nubs. So it was like nubs for everybody. Eat as many M&Ms until this is life without consequence. So have at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Kendra putting together the bucket list was kind of like a lifesaver because, I mean, for us as
we're not talking about the candy there, right?
No.
Okay.
No. Was a lifesaver because rather than just sit at home and lay on the ground and, just kind of go on about your life, because I think a lot of people, when that happens, getting over that depression and getting back in the fight is really difficult.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I don't think I would have been able to do it had it not been for the bucket list. But people in the bucket list, literally international, Canada,
Thailand.
Yeah, Thailand, you name it. Everybody was, it was amazing the things that people came up. Like Daniel was super into trains, and people from the Canadian Rockies put together a trip. We went to Vancouver, a limousine met us there, took us to, a 5-star hotel.
Now, are these people doing this for you that you've never met?
Yeah, I've never met them.
There's actually, since we're on a sports show,
so cool.
that Daniel, we had an ice hockey game, and again, they didn't know if Daniel would make it to next season. So the Frederick Freeze literally called players all over the East Coast. They gathered. They created a game specifically for Daniel. Had a
That's
barbecue
awesome.
afterwards.
Yeah.
We
That's
had
cool.
stuff like, here's another sports thing. We had to watch airplanes come in and out. We thought we'd go to the Frederick Airport. That's, where a lot of people
awesome.
go. We just thought we'd go there. Well, Ed Snyder of the Philly Flyers actually personally reached out, and he wanted us to come to the Philadelphia airport, which was coupled with some friends who had someone who worked in the tower. And so we got to go in the tower. We went on Ed Snyder's private jet, which was getting ready to take off in 2 hours.
Which is literally the nicest bathroom I've ever been in.
So
fly at 51,000
Yeah.
feet. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and they the
Literally
pilot
the
let
nicest
little
bathroom.
D flip switches, and I mean they're getting ready to take off in like an hour, and I was like, oh, but they were like, yeah, no problem. And then Daniel got to go to the firehouse and the fire trucks. He drove around the tarmac just shooting water, and then we were able to sit in a minivan in the middle of the tarmac and watch planes come in and out. So I mean,
That's awesome, man.
I mean,
So
That is amazing.
Frederick
Tired
Helicopter
back
School
up, too.
let Daniel fly around. I mean, literally, it was nonstop events for 6 months.
Now, and I'm sorry if I missed this part. I want to be able to. Steve, you're still with us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be able to kind of wrap it. I don't want you to have to hang out with us the entire time, unless you want to. I mean, we love having you. I mean, you're a great-looking guy. They can't see you, but trust me, people. So I wanted to. So as a whole for the bucket list to start, I know that you said that kind of everybody took it over, but how many people were originally tasked with coming up with the list and making sure that they were in that at that point 6-month time frame? So was it you, Dan?
It was Kendra. and then
Kendra.
the
So
community.
you started the events with Steve, or?
And it was really just, as his aunt, like, I was just really always thinking, like, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then the minute we got the diagnosis, I was like, wait, I need to, I have all these things I want to do with him. So I just compiled a list, and we all added to it. And his very good friend actually suggested doing a GoFundMe, but we felt that, it was, we understand economic times are tough for everyone, and we know if they couldn't gift us, that Daniel could gift them. Like,
Right.
He's such a beautiful reflection of making the best of your abilities every day, enjoying all life's sweet offerings, both big and small. And so we knew that, he's been my greatest teacher, so I knew that
absolutely.
he would gift
Learning
others.
from
Yeah.
a 5-year-old,
So
you
that's what
never
we
would
created.
realize how much you
Yeah.
did learn.
It
from
actually
Amazing.
taught me,
Yeah.
kind of brought me back to, you get stressed out about things sometimes, and little things, and I was very thankful when I was asked to be involved with this, and not involved with just a little portion
Sure,
of what I could do, because it kind of brought me back to reality of what's important, what's not important. Steve, we're gonna kind of wrap up with you to let you go, buddy. But I do want to ask you this. So your original goal, like you said, was kind of just to help the family out, just to kind of take little D's mind off of things, and just kind of just fight and push, and hopefully you can help in some way.
Let him enjoy
Now,
his time.
obviously you did that. Looking back of kind of the road for the past 2.5 years, would you say that you impressed yourself?
Yes.
Well, I hadn't thought about it like that. Every time this time of the year comes around, I'm full of a lot of apprehension, and I don't want to let anybody down, and I wonder, will we have people come out, and will the water be there, and it's a lot of stress and anxiety because
I know someone like that.
because I don't want to let the family down. So no, I haven't really thought about being proud of myself. It's always very nervous about whether or not what I'm doing is meaningful and will have the effect that I would like it to have.
Well, I just had to tell Kendra and Dan right here, I had to cut them off because they were about to start yelling at you for not thinking that you did enough.
Yeah.
It's so.
Hey, Steve, real quick before we let you go, buddy, tell us a little bit about the race. How much does it cost to join the race? How far? What are we doing here?
Well, there's no entry fee to enter, and you can enter the 19.5-mile race, or you can go on the 6-mile course as either a race or just a cruise if you don't want to race. What we do ask for is a donation to the Little D bucket list, and it's a donation of your choice, and 100% of that donation will go to Little D. We don't withhold anything back for our expenses. We have some sponsors that are helping us out, and but the goal is to help the family out as much as possible. So we have the big race for the high-powered, very expensive, high-performance boats like Kendra talked about.
Yeah, I was going to say, there we go.
The ones with the scratches on the bottom, right?
Separate race. All right.
Yeah, and then the entry-level novice folks can get into the 6-mile course, and that's new for this year.
Good.
Okay, cool. Now, is there any type of special things? Because we're gonna have we actually do have a lot of people on here right now watching and commenting in that you can't see, Steve. But is there any special thing that they need to do? A deadline, a cutoff? Do you want them to go to a certain site?
Well, we have a Facebook page, and that's probably the best way to connect with us.
What's the name of the Facebook page?
For Little D on the Monocacy, and you'll find our Facebook page. There you'll see videos. You can see the results from past years. You can also find a link to the registration page where all the details about the race are explained.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, man. I mean, one of the other reasons that I definitely wanted to call you before I let you go, Steve, is because I don't know if you remember when I started. I said if I'm a betting man that nobody asked you to do this, nobody asked you to help out in this way. Jose even said it. You have no blood tie to Little D or Dan or Kendra. But the reason that I'm calling you is because I wanted to tell you I don't know you personally. Just once again from the 2 days that I've known about this, it's definitely touched my heart, and I just wanted to say thank you just from me. You're a hell of a guy, man. And trust me, if you could see their faces, which you will be able to, you're a good dude, man. You did enough, trust me.
Yep.
Well, I'm happy to do it. I'm going to keep doing it as long as the family wants it done.
You guys can thank them, whatever.
Yeah,
And you don't have to hang up on them. Oh, you hung up on
He hung up on him.
I was going to let you guys. Sorry, Steve.
It's okay. Hey, Steve, we still love you, man.
Yeah, man, get out of here. We got a show to run, all right?
What I think's amazing about what he's done is that
Oh,
it
boy.
potentially could turn into something that will carry on long, after Dee's passing, and that, is just something that is so significant, I think,
Yeah.
to our family,
It's
that we
priceless.
can get out and celebrate him, celebrate our community, and celebrate sport, which I think is interesting that, and even with Soldier Fit, that people did a workout for Daniel, and I just love when people gift him their health and give them their activity, because it's something that he can't do.
And people take for granted.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a couple of things that I want to ask you guys and touch on specifically. So I'm going to go right back over real quick. Shout out to our sponsors. But remind me, I want to go. Let's start this route. Let's go.
We got Steve back.
Let's go.
I hung up on Steve. My bad.
Let's go. Hope and then sports. So just remind me of that there. Quick shout out to our sponsors here. As you guys, I'm sure, probably saw in our pregame sort of episode, we had a little connection issues over at Firehouse Subs. Jose, tell them the address. Where's Firehouse Subs?
It is at, and I do apologize because I said the address wrong earlier.
Oh, what?
I said Boulevard, but it's Drive. It's 1700 Kingfisher Drive, Suite 10, at the corner of Monocacy Boulevard and Route 26, which is also known as Liberty Road. It's across from the old and the new Walmart, as well as the CVS. Go in there, get a dang sub. They're delicious, people. You got to get one.
If you guys didn't check out how good they were, I'm dead serious, and I think I say it in the video a couple times. I'm not lying, and I know I'm one hell of an actor here, people. I know it. You know, I've been offered many multi-million-dollar contracts, and I've turned them down. But no bullcrap. That was my real face when I sunk my teeth into. I didn't even get to the hook and ladder. We ended up stopping at the TSB, which is Them Sports Boys mystery sub, made by Evan and Chase. Thank you to Cassie over there at Firehouse Subs. Go in. Definitely let them know that. You want the TSB. So that's our little our giveaway and our promo code for the week. Not our giveaway through Them Sports Boys, but part of our partnership with Firehouse Subs. So by next Thursday, before we do our pregame show there again, go into Firehouse Subs, the one on Monocacy Boulevard and Route 26.
Kingfisher Drive.
Go in there. Cassie is actually probably watching the show right now. Cassie Pavart. Say what's up to her. Say what's up to Dee and Chase and Evan. And say, I want the TSB. That's all you have to say.
And they'll know exactly what you're talking
They'll
about.
take care of the rest for you. And
sit back, kick your feet up, put your hands behind your head, and get ready to enjoy.
Exactly. And another thing, and just to tie in the episode and kind of where the show's going, and that's why I wanted to, Kendra, I wanted you to remember just where I wanted to go with it. But also I wanted to give a shout out to Firehouse Subs. So they are, and you can tell them exactly, Joe, being a first responder. So they actually donate part of their proceeds, and they don't announce it to you at the table and ask you for, or at the counter and ask you for more money or anything like that. Whatever the price is, whatever you give them, they take a percentage of that, and they actually give it to an organization that helps out first responders and gives them additional equipment and provides training for them. I don't remember the exact name of the organization, but actually, Cassie texted it to me. But I think that's pretty cool. What do you think, Joe? I think it's pretty neat that people do that. And
absolutely. And to be absolutely honest, that exact Firehouse Subs at 1700 Kingfisher Drive, Suite 10,
Public
at the
Safety
corner
Foundation,
of Monocacy Boulevard and Route 26. Donated enough money for the junior fire company in Frederick County, where I happen to work, to buy two Rams, 20-inch Ram and a 30-inch Ram for our rescue squad. So we got
really.
Yeah,
my Tahoe's got 22-inch Rams. Yeah, they spinning.
But yeah, you know what I mean. They donate to an extremely good cause, and like you said, you might see a little blurb in a paper, but it's not because they put it there. It's because the people who appreciate it,
the
want
people,
it to be there,
the people of
I mean?
Frederick, and I think that plays a big part into it. So
absolutely.
thank you, Shuck and Shack and Firehouse Subs. We'll get back to you here in a second. We appreciate it. But do you guys think that I just sent mi corazon the link, so she's actually gonna put up the organization, the Public Safety Foundation that Firehouse Subs donates to as well. But so kind of getting back to where we are as a community, and I think it's very cool. And you know, Danny telling me his story, for those of you that don't know, I don't talk about Soldier Fit on the show, but Soldier Fit literally saved my life. Danny's played a big part of that, and I think that the ability to give, if you are in a dark place and there's no way out of it, and hope has been taken from you, as you and I talked about, Dan, before the show, when somebody takes your hope away and tells you there's no shot, there's no hope, there's no reason, then it puts you in a spot that you don't want to go, and I'll be damned if it's not a dogfight to get out of it. So I think that one of the things, and you guys can talk about it too, one of the things that helped me was community service. And it sounds very cliche and very, yeah, whatever, you know, you don't really care.
No, it's addictive to go. I mean, it's addictive to give back to your community. It really
Absolutely.
It really is. And I think that the ability to get over yourself
is. Oh, yeah.
is a big thing. Poor me, poor me. No, it's not. You have to move on. You're not going through what Little D's going through. Little D's not going through what Matt Helm's going through. Matt Helm's not going through what Joe's going through. It just, everybody has their demons.
And you create this tight knit environment, this community, if you will, which we actually spoke about earlier. And you know, Matt Helm and even you guys in the situation that you're in, Matt Helm's out there trying to help people, and the guy's in his own fight himself. You know
But you never know.
and you would never know it. And you would never know that you guys are in the fight that you guys are in. You know what I mean? I think you were telling us about Jim Kelly's symposium earlier,
Hunter's Hope.
a little earlier, Hunter's Hope for his son that he
Yeah,
created.
we'll get to that.
And it's just did we cover the numbers earlier? And forgive me if how rare Little D's disease is.
It's like
I don't-
1 in
yeah, I don't think we
100,000.
did. I don't think we did.
It's an extremely rare disease.
Yeah.
What was the numbers?
Like 1 in 100,000. if
One
not
in
a little
100,000
more.
people have this, so it's an extremely rare and small knit community.
And I think that that's because Kendra and Dan have been so involved with it, and they've done so much to raise awareness. Because when Kendra actually said the disease, and you were there when I originally heard about it, and I started to read. I couldn't read it, and you just buzzed right through it. And I was like, "Dang, go on." But it's not like it's so rare. It's so rare that I mean, and can you say it again? Because I didn't even know how to look at it. I think it's MLD. MLD,
Yeah,
right?
that's the short, and it's metachromatic leukodystrophy, and there's 42 different types of leukodystrophy,
Okay.
which I also had.
You just
And
wouldn't have an idea,
Like I
right?
said, and it's a learning experience
Yeah.
along the way. You know, it's not like, I mean, we're just hearing about it for the first time, and that was 2 days ago. You guys are actually living it, and you were thrusted into this situation and had no idea. You know what I mean? And like you said,
Well,
it's
Dan said that he didn't know, and at first I think you said
Yeah, he was misdiagnosed with Charcot-Marie tooth, which isn't terminal. It's just hypertonia, low muscle tone. And then he continued to degrade. And when he was diagnosed with Charcot-Marie tooth, the doctor, I was like, man, I got a gut feeling this isn't it.
Right.
And he was like, look,
And your wife was kind of the other
yeah,
way, kind
yeah.
of. You both were hoping,
Yeah,
but
my wife's way more into the science on this, and she's actually out there campaigning for genetic testing and stuff like that.
Really?
To make it, like mandatory.
see, when I told you guys, it's unbelievable how much you guys are doing. So,
Because
I'm sorry,
now,
go ahead.
within 10 years of basically they have a cure for it, but you have to be pre-symptomatic. If
Okay.
you show any symptoms, it's too late.
So
Right,
that's crazy,
Yeah.
and so I don't want to ask this and kind of sound like it's coming from the wrong way.
No,
So
hit it.
has anything that you guys have done directly affected the creation of that medicine? If that makes sense.
Well, it's obviously $1 million pharmaceuticals. So what she is working on is getting the testing and getting the testing approved, and then
Okay.
making sure that the testing's effective. Because the testing that they have now, for every 1 kid that's diagnosed, like 9 kids are misdiagnosed, and then they end up with do no harm. And the doctors, they have to basically tell their family
I got
that their child could have this, and they have to go through testing to prove it.
Okay.
And that obviously causes 9 families,
Right.
one very, very rough
Right.
week or 2, but then they're very relieved.
Oh, so there's no fatal results from taking the medicine if you do not.
Well, it's
have-
not. No. The test.
Okay.
The test to see if you have it. There's a genetic test. To
Okay,
find
so
it.
they don't actually put you on the medicine until they
Yeah.
they test you, and is it clear cut? Yes, you have it, or no, you don't have it,
No,
or is
it's
it
yes, you
still?
have it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes,
And
And
Alright.
one thing I will say is genetic.
Fumble! I dropped the football. Sorry.
If you plan on having kids, like we skipped.
You taught us that, Coach.
Yeah, we skipped the genetic testing. It was like $200.
Okay.
Because I was like, we're not going to need it. Everything's going to be fine. $200 would have changed the outcome of this at least significantly.
And
Because
that's
we would have been able to predict it that both me and my wife have the genes.
and that's another thing that subconsciously you guys are doing so much, and that's why I think that telling stories like this, and especially ones that that are painful are so important because a lot of people don't want to talk about their dark times or dark issues, but the reality of it is that somebody else in this world, whether it be right now or in the future, is going to go through what you're feeling, and a lot more often than you think that they do. So
Yes.
anything that you say, and even maybe by an accident, you could help somebody and save somebody's
In the
life.
long run, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I think in the beginning when I was asking you, and I know what we're talking about when we're talking about raising awareness. We want to do the event for a little deal in the monocracy, but now you guys can see that raising awareness means right now, just by this event that Steve has started and the bucket list that Kendra decided to come up with, just out of trying to make the family and little D comfortable, has created all of this buzz because we're such a tight knit community here in Frederick
Absolutely.
that now we're talking about we just got an answer to a question that no one would ever ask if that disease ever came up. Would you spend the $200? Now you're like, hell yeah. If there was if there was one in a never chance, you're gonna, you know what I mean? You would do it. So
absolutely.
you may have helped somebody right there, and I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you for giving
Yeah,
you know,
the
the
opportunity
platform
without
to
you.
do that.
Oh
Thank
yeah,
you guys for
don't
coming. No,
don't cut me
listen.
off. We're not done yet.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I kind of wanted to get to was we would say sport, right? And this is where I wanted to bring up Jim Kelly. I wanted to bring up Mr. Snyder from Philly. And here's the cool thing, and I may even give you the mic, Coach Dave, because you definitely know a lot of cool stories with a lot of cool guys that probably get a bad rap through, social media or through reporters, and that's why some people don't talk to reporters anymore. But sports, as far as what it can do for you as your character, as a grown-up man, woman, I think that it builds something inside of you that allows you to take on responsibility, deal with a serious issue. And like you said, you were on the plane, and this guy's in, I wouldn't even know where to start and how many zeros it would be to have a plane like that. But you said it was the nicest bathroom you've ever been in.
Absolutely.
And little D's in there flicking switches
Oh, I
that
know,
probably
it's just
at any moment could cost one flick $10,000 of just a light. And the guy probably didn't give a shit, and he was probably just had the time of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Kind of where I'm going with that is I think that sports play a very important role in dealing with adversity and issues that you wouldn't normally face, and help you prepare for life events. Exactly, would you ever, playing football, basketball, baseball, would that ever help you with what you just went through or you're still going through? No shot. But does it give you the ability to still have hope or to fight for hope when they told you there's no shot?
Well, what's getting Daniel through his day-to-day fights, I mean, he wakes up sucking and goes to sleep sucking, but it's drive, and sports gives you drive.
And I don't know if we've gotten to the point, so little D right now has gotten to the point where he can no longer communicate, he can't speak.
Yeah.
But you did say that he does like football, he likes the Redskins.
So we ask him questions, and yes is a blink, no is not a blink.
Okay.
And as long as he's doing well autonomic, nervous system wise, it's pretty accurate. Like you can tell, like a long blink is like, yeah, why aren't you doing this now?
Okay, so
and then
you
a
can
quick
read
blink's
that.
like, yeah, cool, stop talking to me, I want to watch TV.
So they're definitely, so you guys obviously going through it with him and being there with him can notice his transfer of emotions and how he's explaining them to you. But
Yeah, he's
can
still
you
in
tell?
there.
Can
Yeah,
he
he's
speak to
still
you guys
in there.
through his eyes?
But he's a 5-year-old in there. Absolutely.
Yeah,
He wants to
He said he likes the
playing and-
Redskins too, right?
Yeah,
he likes the
we-
Redskins. He
Ever
enjoys-
since he was born, him and I would have a Redskin party every year.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah, we get in gear, we get snacks, and we watch a game.
So when did you guys usually do it? Beginning of the season or?
We would generally do it, at the beginning of the season. So he even just as an infant was drawn
There we
to
go, right there.
football, and it was actually I didn't realize it until he went to an Army-Navy game, and I was babysitting, and he was we had it on because he was at the game, and he was just drawn to the screen, and he's ever since just I think love the sport and just sports in
And there's
general.
people out there that think it's boring. Can you imagine?
No.
Yeah, but you gotta respect that too. It just doesn't. It just doesn't interest them, and that's actually what I was gonna say about it. Is
And if it doesn't
is-
interest you, please come do our IT stuff for us. So we can
Yeah,
get our audio up and
please
running.
get us on the air on time, because when we looked at the computer for the first time, we were the same way. Like, what the hell is that thing? Get it away from me. But damn, you told a funny joke. I didn't even know where I was going with that. That was a good one.
So, but you said that people weren't interested, maybe not interested in sports. Yeah, but he was drawn to it as
Okay.
a youngster.
So yeah, that's what I was gonna say was, let me actually tie before we forget about it, because you guys have so many cool things to talk about, and just randomly stumbled upon that your wife is out creating a new medicine to help cure
Oh,
people.
she's working with the law, trying to get it passed.
Yeah, no big
That's
deal.
what- yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
I just think that's really cool. And
You know where my wife is? Non-existent.
Yeah.
So,
People, we need to help Joe.
I don't know what she's doing right now.
You know, I mean, write in. If you're single, if you want to hang out, if you want to meet us at the OT for ladies' nights,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? The promo code might be "What's up, Jose?" I don't know. You might get an extra ticket for the free bar tab.
Sweepstakes.
I don't know. Champion. Shuck and Shack. Showdown Shindig Champion Sweepstakes. We'll see you there, 7:30 p.m. But once again, you guys have done so many cool things, and it's just absolutely amazing. And that's why I wanted to call Steve and let him know that, because he's a lot like myself and a lot of athletes, to where that, to him, all he wants to do is make you guys comfortable, and at no point and he didn't start that because he wanted any recognition. Like when you came on here and you're like, I didn't know if I was supposed to share through, I don't want you to say it, this page or that page. I don't care. I'm just here to raise awareness about it. And that's, I think, a lot of athletes get that instilled in them. Who we got?
Kevin Schmidt, that might be a good idea.
Dude, that's...
That's a good idea.
All right, guys, so
Auction
real
off,
quick,
right?
seriously, let's... I mean, we could do something. I'll raise $1
Hey.
almost anyway. So,
Let's
Shuck
do it.
and Shack.
We'll do it at the Shuck and Shack.
Shuck and Shack, 7:30 p.m.
Doesn't have to be tonight. You know, we gotta. Hey, let's wait till payday for these women.
No, you gotta plan it out. You don't
No,
just
but
want
if you wait till-
one's rushing there,
Listen, if we wait till payday, then the alcohol that they're gonna need to have the actual courage to come up to just a strapping young lad like yourself, they're gonna have to pay double the drinks anyway. They're
I
half
understand,
off.
but I don't have a
I
bow
believe.
tie.
What's
And
the- what's
I don't
that
have a
so
bow
special?
tie and a pair of leggings on right now. I mean, that's all I'm gonna wear.
Dude, I
so.
got the tuxedo T-shirt in 3 colors in the
It
closet.
is what it is. And here it is. Here it is, right here, right now. You heard it first, Kevin Schmidt. If we get this fundraiser off the ground, we auction me off one night for one date with said female. If she's lucky, she'll get a second. All of the proceeds will go to Lil D's Foundation.
There we go.
Let's
And
do
that's
it.
actually,
I will sacrifice myself for that.
yeah, he's doing
3
it.
women, please.
Exactly.
But I'll go out with anyone.
He really will. And I've seen him do it before. I've seen him do
Females,
it.
damn it, females.
Females. And
Might
that
be
is-
four. The guys might be
Look, I don't know. Hey, Coach Dave, I don't know. There was no stipulation when we started this. I don't know. You guys can make up the rules afterwards, but I think it's just anybody. If you're willing to pay,
I
I'm
would
just
agree
messing with
that.
you.
Hashtag
But really, though, actually, we will do that. Maybe if we can actually come up with a way to promote that a little bit, and I'll actually
I'm in.
text Wade and Eric here in a second, and let them know that we're going to come with a little more gas on the fire. I think that they'll appreciate it as well. But I wanted to get to Jim Kelly real quick, and I think I had something else really important that I was going to go to, but we just started saying funny stuff, man. It just gets me off track. Tell us a little bit about Jim Kelly and his foundation. Jim Kelly, and you can kind of brief everybody on the story as far as what he's been through with his son and the difficulties that he faced
And himself, yeah.
himself, and
Cancer.
He battles cancer.
and
often.
yeah, exactly. And he's in a fight, and that's why I say to people, you never know.
Siege, what's up, man?
What's up, CJ? You never know. Oh yeah, you're in charge of getting the happy hour before the show at Shuck and Shack together, and getting a flyer together. So people, you heard it on air here. CJ Thomas right here, and
Wade
I'll
wants
actually
us to
tag him.
brainstorm. We're going to brainstorm. We'll brainstorm at overtime tonight.
Okay, you got it. 7:30.
I think it's a great idea,
brainstorming.
Wade.
Meet us there. You can brainstorm with us. So, Jim Kelly has been faced with a lot of issues in his life, and I think that in his pads, in his shoulder pads, in his helmet, slinging a football 60 yards downfield, having Thurman Thomas in the backfield, and losing 4 straight Super Bowls. That's pretty difficult to do. Actually, the odds are harder to do that than go to and win one. I think that everybody looks at Jim Kelly and says, that guy's got it all. There's no issues with him. And Jim Kelly probably is not the type of guy like you guys that are going to walk around and say, hey, poor me, this is what's wrong with me. But you never know what anybody's going through, and you never know in that moment what you can say to them to maybe save their life, to maybe bring back hope, to maybe help them be able to say something to a family member that could be encouraging, productive, hopeful. And I think oftentimes that we lose that, and that's why I was saying whether it's little D, whether it's Helm, whether it's Joe, whether it's me, whether it's you guys, somebody's going through something, and we can always help somebody.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about Jim and your experience with Jim Kelly.
So Jim Kelly runs a foundation.
Let's just call him Jim. You know him.
Yeah.
Jim.
Jimbo,
Jim.
whatever it may be.
Just call him
Well,
Jim.
I think that man deserves more respect
I
than
would
that.
agree, but
Actually, here we go. Babe, get Jim Kelly on the line.
You got it.
yeah,
All
can
right.
we please
Well,
do
I
that?
don't know. Coach Dave, if you don't mind, either him or Thurman
Byron
Thomas,
with the
maybe
fireball.
Andre Rison. Okay.
So
Well, Andre Reed is who you were thinking
Or
of,
Andre
by the
Reed,
way.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Jim Kelly had a son. His name's Hunter Hope, or was Hunter. He was born and immediately diagnosed with Krabbe, and it was very clear that Jim had, he was going to play football. He'll tell you the story. I mean, his life, that kid's life was going to be very regimented, and that kid was going to play in the NFL.
Yeah,
Hell or high
absolutely. If you
water,
guys have missed it, they've done a lot of 30 for 30 and E60s and
There's
ESPN
a lot of coverage on it, yeah.
on Jim Kelly and his son and what he went through. So
Yeah,
you can see
and-
the real story there.
His son passed away. He didn't really know what to do. His wife is a great person, and they, with his wife's parents, started a foundation. I met Jim at a fundraiser in Philadelphia. Honestly, I don't follow football, so I don't really, he walked up to me and we started talking about our kids and stuff like that, and people kept coming up and talking about football to him. And I was kind of like, hey, dude, if you don't want to talk about football, I'll bounce them. I don't care.
He probably appreciated that more than you'll ever know.
Yeah, well, I didn't know it. He was like, well, no, I kind of have to. And I was like, I don't
There you go.
really
There
think
you don't.
And then his father, or his father-in-law was like, well, you don't really know who he is, do you? And I was like, oh, it's Jim. And then
That's Jim Kelly. Yeah, I know. He said his name.
he
Yeah.
started auctioning off footballs, and if you don't think that guy has got a gun on him, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He threw the first, so people would buy a football for buy a book, auction off a football, and then he would throw it to you, sign and throw it to you.
I don't know
And,
why
you know,
I'm holding this. Steve's been
I
gone
don't-
for like an hour.
I don't want anybody to buy me and sign me and throw me
No, absolutely.
Oh, no.
in an auction.
Well,
just
people
so you
would be
guys
like,
know.
well, I'm going to the back of this very large
Yeah,
hall,
yeah.
and there's no way he'll be able to get the football to me because of the art.
okay.
Yeah, no.
Boy went to the U. I mean,
Yeah, no.
what else is there?
It's a laser beam. And then my wife's like, hey, we'll buy a football and you'll go catch it. I was like, oh, hell no. I am 100% sure I'm going to get hurt by that.
Exactly.
That is a bullet.
You know who that is? That's Jim Kelly, Buffalo Bill. I think he's
Yeah.
wanted for murder or stealing people or something like that.
No,
Yeah.
he's an amazing
I'm just
guy
kidding.
all
Buffalo
around.
Bill. The
Yeah,
guy
I
from
got
Buffalo
you.
Bill.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
probably what it is because of football. Sorry.
Wearing
It was a
skin
reach.
is a
Yeah, that's right. It
costume.
puts the lotion on the skin is what I was going with. Not Jim Kelly as a murderer. Sorry, people. Sorry, Jim. Sorry, Jim. When you get him on the line, babe, tell him. Sorry.
No problem.
No, he's and I mean he works really hard with that. He gives out his personal phone number to all the families. Like if you ever have an issue or just want to talk, I mean he's always there. I actually don't.
Oh, okay.
No,
I'm messing with you.
We would
We would never do that.
He
I'm
would.
just kidding.
I might do it. If
No.
you give him
No, not at all.
Because
It was about
he'll
you.
do anything to get
I think
the word out there.
I would say, yeah, do it.
I'll get his number and we can try.
Yeah,
Might
do it.
take a while, but
That's
we can
fine.
work it.
We can do it at the other
You
team.
want to do it? Yeah.
Either way, but so let's tell us about your experience with Jim. Did you guys learn? And this is actually a very good example because yourself and Dan was he served our country. He was in the military. He was in the army. How many years did you learn?
18 and a half years.
18 and a half years, and then police force for
25.
huh?
He's only like 25.
That's what I was thinking.
He started at an early
He
age.
started when he was 8.
Yeah, he
Well,
started at an early age.
See, the thing is, I was gonna say something, but it
18.
genuinely pissed me off of how young he looked. I didn't want to say it aloud. It would have came off wrong.
I do not feel that young.
So we
Honestly,
definitely appreciate your services. So,
Thank you.
and how long in the police force?
On and off since 2004, so I got about 12 years, but I did several deployments to Afghanistan during that time.
Well, that still
Okay.
counts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Still counts. Yeah, it still counts.
So the
Yeah,
reason,
absolutely.
Thank
the
you,
reason I'm
soldiers and
kind
sailors,
of
that.
asking you about that, number one, obviously we appreciate your services and everything that you do. But oftentimes, and now Danny's in the house over here, him and I talk a lot because Danny, despite what he says, he's a sellout, and he gave up on the Ravens. He jumped off the wagon, whatever he says. But Danny, for real though, doesn't know a lot about football, and I do not know. He knows the basics of football. He appreciates the sport. I don't know, and I am they call me stormtrooper because I can't shoot a gun. I don't know the ins and outs of the military, but I do know this, and we have a common ground, which is we both have structure. It's the same type of environment. It's the same type of characteristics that you build from it. And it definitely builds you as a man, as a woman, like we talked about in the beginning. So
They break you down to build you up.
and I always go back to comparing those two. So this is a perfect example. So when you met Jim, and you probably even figured out, he's been to the Super Bowl, he's MVP, all that stuff. It still doesn't matter. He probably is just equally as impressed that you did 18 and a half years.
I don't think he actually knew. We didn't talk about that. We mostly talked about ourselves.
Well, he does now.
So-
He's watching live.
So that's what I was gonna ask. Ask you. So at that point, where was your common ground? What did you guys talk about? How did you help each other?
So little D is obviously the common ground, and his son. I mean, that's a more powerful bond than I think you can understand.
I have a little man,
Yeah.
so yeah. And but so I can't.
And from
try to, but I
one
don't want to.
perspective, I hear a lot of families, and obviously Daniel's still around, but a lot of the families say like, hey, when you get to the other side, it's gonna seem impossible to do, but you'll learn so much from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it doesn't sound like that's anything I really want to learn about, but they swear up and down that there's, you'll understand so much more. And I mean, I think I've already gotten a lot of the lesson. There's a lot of love in the world. It doesn't seem like it when you watch the news and stuff like that, and you kind of think like,
It truly is.
yeah.
Especially in a small
Yeah.
community, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, like this area, and then you go out to, like we talked about, in a small knit community, and unfortunately, with little D's disease, you got that it's very rare, and those communities all feed off of each other and help
Yeah.
each other.
Well, and you as a first responder, I mean, you're always dealing with bad stuff in people's lives. So kind of when, you get into a situation like this, you're like, it doesn't get any worse than this. And then all of a sudden people come out of the woodwork and you're like, where are all you good people?
Yeah,
Right,
I used,
absolutely.
I used
Where did
to
you
use the
from?
word extraordinary to describe it. I'd be like, oh, it's extraordinary. And, and then I realized it's common, it's really kind of ordinary, the kindness of other people.
People really do just let it out. They just have to find a,
Yeah,
Cause.
And I think that goes back to community service and giving. I think that giving someone else something is the only way that you can get rid of that pain. To get rid of, you probably thought it was absolutely impossible. But probably by Steve starting to get the ball rolling on things, and Kendra getting the ball rolling on things, and you helping other people, and you sharing your story and helping
just
people in the show.
Yesterday, even you just extending an invitation to do a bucket list item for Daniel, it instantly made my heart just swell, and it just lifted my spirit, and it's so comforting to know that there are still people out there that, want to ensure that his days are full of joy and smiles and just the gift, and I meant that, just you saying that and your extending that invitation alone is all the gift we need, it really is, because it's just knowing that, there are
And it's
people in our
genuine.
community. Yeah, absolutely.
And I told you earlier, the reason that, and I know I probably seem like I'm hounding you about the bucket list, and I'm hounding everybody that's involved with the bucket list. And this is a good problem to have. And once again, it's not for any type of recognition or anything like that. We want to help raise awareness. So I won't even say, so through this certain company and somebody that's sitting in the room is half of the reason when I was telling you that people won't leave me alone about it. That's why. It's because even from just people that you would never think that you touch, and that would never have a passion or a care or a genuine concern for what you're going through, you would be so surprised of the people that are like, I will dedicate every dime, every hour, don't care what it costs.
Yeah.
to help that person out, because I couldn't imagine.
Well, that's what I think. For every like dollar donated, I would think of, someone took that from their family and gave it to ours,
They
or
worked for
someone,
it.
if someone commuted to DC to make this money that they then in turn, gave to our family and to Daniel. And so, I don't think that was ever lost on us. And then too, I think just the Soldier Fit community.
Oh, she blew it.
Okay.
She said it.
Oh, I'm not allowed to say
no,
it.
no, no.
No, you're
fine.
fine. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. You're fine. You're
But
fine.
that, I think just them as a whole, extending invitation for Daniel to be part of a workout. Then they wanted to be a part of our Walk for Wishes. And they've ever since have been kind of a fabric of Daniel's journey. So that just continued. I think that's what's where you start to realize how genuine everyone's intents are, is that it continues long after, an event, is that they really just become a fabric, like, of Daniel's journey.
Right, and I think that what's really cool, and obviously cat's out of the bag, and Danny says all the time that he doesn't want to tell his story anymore, and it's not that he doesn't want to tell his story. He always says, and I'll kind of make it radio friendly, he doesn't want to sound like he's cocky. He's overconfident. So, but the thing is that, and I think that what Jim is trying to relay to you guys, and once again, I can't imagine, I'm only trying to put myself in your shoes, is that once you get to the other side, the thing that's going to make it easier is that you will be able to dedicate your time fully to helping someone that's going through it. And I think that Jim being able to help you out,
Yeah.
and dedicate his time to you, I think that that's what it's all about, and giving back. But it's the ability to tell your story once again, and Danny says it all the time, and he's like, I don't want to tell me, but you have to. You have to tell your story, whether you think a million people. Matt Helm came on here and he was like, I'm not going to talk about my story. Remember when he came on? He was, I'm not going to tell my story. And
you are.
And we sat here
You
and I was
drove
like,
here from Philly to tell your story. You're
the
going to tell your
hell-
story.
The hell you aren't.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to tell your story. And the reason that's so important is because you overlook the people that you're going to affect. And like I said earlier in the episode, it's literally saved my life. And I can't imagine how many people you guys have already helped out, giving them hope. And Helm has, and different organizations. Jim Kelly's organization, I'm sure, has done leaps and bounds and measures, but
And even everybody else out there who has done something along the way, whether it be help an old lady across the street, carry an old man's groceries to the vehicle, you see somebody, if you're having a shitty day, pull over and help that person change their tire. You know what I mean?
Bet you feel better.
You will feel better when
Yeah.
you leave. I promise you 100%. Just help your community wherever you are. I mean, and as unfortunate as this is, we had a gentleman in Frederick County, and they still haven't found the guy who actually struck him. But there was a Marine that was driving home from North Carolina. His name was I can't remember what rank he was, but his name was actually William Farrell, and he was struck by a vehicle in the pouring rain because he pulled over at 2:00 in the morning to help a woman change her tire on Route 15
and he got hit.
and killed.
Yeah.
And
Why-
they still haven't found the guy.
So somebody hit him. So
Absolutely.
that actually just
But
literally is the opposite of what you said.
No, but I mean, it's in the pouring
No, I'm
rain.
just-
and he
I
pull-
was
you know what I mean?
the
He
irony of it.
pulls over.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's in the pouring rain. And this guy, out of the kindness of his heart, his last deed.
That's pretty cool.
Was
Yeah, if you're gonna
was
go out,
If you're
unselfish.
gonna go out,
Certainly respect
I think
it.
it's like
His
three
last
ways.
deed
That
was
might be one of them.
unselfish. You know what I mean? And it that's respect right there. That's the definition
Absolutely.
of respect. If you ask me,
That's really cool.
And it's completely unfortunate that it had to happen that way. But you know,
Sorry to cut you off, Joe.
No, you're good. Go
I wish we didn't have to, but we obviously at some point have to wrap this thing up here. And I said 7-Eleven earlier. Danny knows I've never been on time for anything. Coach Dave knows. Reason my cardio, and the reason that I had this physique growing up is because I was always late and always had to run. So I want to, before I'm going to let you guys kind of end on whatever you want to talk about as far as the foundation. And you can think about before it, because I want to ask you one more question, is what did you think when you guys started out would never change that did? And through everything, what actually, I know that Steve had the ultimate goal of raising awareness and helping you guys in any way that he could. By doing that, I wonder what the biggest, I think I know the answer, what the real actual effect was and what came out of it. And I can see it personally, but so just think about that real quick. And then I want to actually ask and almost tell, I'm just going to tell you people, it's just going to be the way it is. So, and I think it's this way in Buffalo as well, so it's pretty cool that Jim Kelly's up there. But it's very rare that, and you guys can vouch for me, I've been to a couple places, I haven't been all over the world, but it's very rare that you find a community willing to fight for each other, willing to believe in the same things, and sometimes not even believe in the same things, but the ability to adapt and be open-minded, to find a common ground, to help somebody that's in need is very rare. And for an entire community to do it, that's pretty damn cool to me. I know that community service here, and we don't consider it community service, we just help people helping people, is a priority for us. I know at other places that I've been to, it's almost, they won't even let you do it. But I wanted to ask you guys what you guys thought as far as what makes Frederick so caring about other people's issues. Is it something in the water? Is it
Ain't in the water.
It's not in the water.
We got Fort Detrick.
Yeah. Fort Detrick, there you go, right there. We got Lake Linganore, dude.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it
Been
ain't
in
the
it.
water.
I've been in it. I
Believe
almost
me.
didn't make it out. But, as far as the location, I know it's not, we don't have a beach right here.
I always think that it's like, even our downtown it's built on entrepreneurs. And so I always think that everyone has such a vested interest in making the community, thrive and successful. And I think that is infectious, and it just kind of, bleeds its way into our community that, I think we all genuinely want this to be a place, a wonderful place to live. And I think that's,
Everybody wants a
Yeah.
nice place, and Frederick is a city, but it is still got that small time feel.
Exactly. You think that has something to do with it as far as it being a hybrid between, you can be in the country and then in 3 minutes you can be downtown.
Yeah.
It's not, city where as far as, where it's, Compton, but it's a pretty city. You can get to places really quick. I guess you can drive to the beach. It doesn't take that long. You can go to Lake Linganore. I think it's like 7 minutes away. That may have something to do with it. Write in, people. That's actually a pretty good question. I don't know what's in the water. Well, I know what's in the water in here. I don't know what's not in the water. I'd be interested to get other people's thoughts on why Frederick's different as far as giving back to other people. But let's go ahead and kind of end with what you guys think about the question, and then anything that you guys want to say to the people, our great fans that are watching us and watching you guys and supporting everything. Go ahead.
Go first.
well, I think, it makes me want to cry, and I keep thinking, like, I've almost cried 3 times here, and I keep thinking there's no
I got
crying in
it out on
baseball,
Tuesday.
or something, so I'm like, I don't want to cry on a sports show, but I definitely think, for me, when Daniel was diagnosed, it just sort of, nothing made sense, his toys that I kept, just seemed pointless, and everything didn't seem to make sense. And I remember my mom telling me that, to not live life to the fullest would be a slap in his face, because Daniel would do just that, and he would. But then I think what happened is that, the community and everyone started to reach out, and they gave us reasons to get out and celebrate. And I can't imagine for Danny and Sue, because they were just in a whirlwind of, like, managing his health, but they did it, and they got out, and we were out, like, laughing and smiling. And I remember thinking, like, I would stop myself and be like, wow, I can't believe I'm, like, genuinely happy. Like, in my heart, I'm genuinely happy. And probably what I know is the worst, most dark time in our lives. And, and I think that has continued, and it's such a gift, and it's one we'll obviously never be able to repay. So I think we're kind of forever indebted, and it's inspired, it inspires us to want to, give that gift to other people in whatever capacity that we can.
So I would say, like, one of the things about the little D on the monocracy is when you're in that situation, like, it's literally the stress of trying to save somebody's life when you know it is not going to happen. You know, it's like doing CPR on somebody all day long. You go to work, and when you go home, it is not relaxing. You go home to alarms going off. You go home to literally somebody's pulse ox, the oxygen in their blood system dropping down into the 80s, their heart rate hitting 230, then dropping down to 60, and bouncing all around. You can't understand the stress that it is. To go through that alone, I couldn't imagine. And the only reason I can't imagine why not going through it alone is because, like Steve literally works on this year round. Like when we go out to lunch, he sits down, he's like, I'm hand making t-shirts. I bought a t-shirt maker. I'm making the plaques and stuff like that. And while he doesn't go home with me to deal with that, I go home with that in mind, and I'm like, this sucks. And, obviously I'll do whatever it takes to keep that alive as long as I possibly can. Screw MLD, go to hell. Yep. But I'm not doing this alone. And
Agreed.
And
Yep.
all that community and stuff like that comes out. And like you said, like, go help somebody. I mean, that one little act, that one little relief that you give somebody could be enough to put them over the edge and get them to the next, get their life to turn around. Mm-hmm. And you won't see that effect. Nope. It's a shot fired in the dark. You don't know what's going to happen to them 4 years from now. But I mean, literally, I don't think I would survive this if it weren't for my family and friends and the community around. I know I wouldn't survive this. Actually, I know it's barely.
Yeah, and years ago, and I can't remember the name of it for the damn life of me. And it actually pisses me off that I can't but it really hit home. You know what I mean? Like, and not that I was ever in that situation in my life personally, but there's a lot of people out there that are. And the song was about a guy that was about to commit suicide, and his buddies sent him a text message. It was like, hey man, I wish you were here right now, blah blah blah, and like that, and that kept him from, you know what I mean? That small act, one text message, one phone call. Mm-hmm. You never know what the hell is going to make a difference. If you're thinking about somebody, man, call them. Pick up the damn phone and call them. You know what I mean? If you want to go see somebody, go see them. You don't know the difference that can make in somebody's life.
No idea.
And I said it to you before in the pregame show, and it works both ways. You know what I mean? If unfortunately you're in a situation that is as severe as Little D's, or if you are actually helping an elderly woman across the street or carrying groceries, it works both ways. It's not the years in your life; it's the life in the years that you actually spend. Get your money's worth. You know what I mean?
If you're not living life, life is living you, people. I'm telling you.
Do you want to do Jose's first responder trivia question of the week?
Look, man, we don't even have time for that. We got real life stuff going on.
I understand.
I'm crying. I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm sad. I'm a glass case of emotion, people. So I keep saying it's the last thing I'm going to ask you, but you guys are so freaking awesome. I can't stop. So once again, I don't want to make this about me, but don't ever stop sharing your story, because I have. It's funny because these two guys right here have known me forever. Outside of you guys, I guess Steven and then Mom would know me longer. And when I was going through my issues and I was very upset and I couldn't find hope. I couldn't find a way out. And no one could help me. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Whatever you say to me, it's not that I don't care. It's that it's not worth me even listening, because you'll never understand how I feel. And there's two people in this room that said things to me that they never knew, to go back to what you guys are saying, said to me that they never knew. They weren't trying to give me a Ray Lewis speech. That saved my life. And, one was Danny, and then the other one was Carla when she walked in, and whether she likes to admit it or not, when she was hitting on me. But she asked me how I ended up at where I work now, and I don't work, where I hang out, and it was the first time that I was ever able to tell my true story, and I didn't know. I don't know why, but I felt comfortable. And it was the first time that I ever said it. It was the first time that I ever said it, but And after I said it, she replied to me with, and I told her how just kind of I was up here and now I don't even know. Really, I think she knew what I was saying. I don't really know if I want to be here anymore. And she was like, "You're awesome." And I was like, "What's she talking? Are you not listening to me?"
Yeah.
And when she said, "I don't find people interesting that are not willing to share their story or share their struggles or share their demons, because if they don't, then they're a liar." You know, not that they're a liar, but they've never been.
She never told me that. That's probably why she finds me so interesting.
So, and I thought that was pretty cool. And between the two, hearing Danny's story and then being able to tell mine, is what brought me back around to the point to where I can give everything that I have to other people again. And the only reason once again, I don't want to make this about myself. The only reason I'm saying that is because don't ever stop telling your story, because you never know who you're going to save. The last thing I'll ask you, I swear, last thing I'm going to ask you is how through this, because I think that this is what Steve did, what Kendra did, what everybody did as a unit, when you got the initial diagnosis and the timeline and results and the reality of what was going to happen, the little d, hope is gone, right?
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that you can take from somebody that they can't return from. So how, if you could put into words to help somebody else out, how did everybody who has helped out with everything with little d insert hope back in your life and make you be able to smile again and feel actual feelings again?
Yeah.
Is there any advice that you could say that they could help somebody else?
Change your perspective and change your view and goals.
Yeah.
I think, so it's obviously unattainable to stop Daniel's death. It's not going to happen, you know. And if I spend all my time fighting that and trying to achieve that, it's time wasted. It's a goal you can't. I mean, if there was a way, if I could die for him, you know, I
You
would
would.
obviously
Really
do that.
I think there's a lot of
instantaneously.
people that would at this point. It's crazy.
But you can't. That goal is not achievable. So to really kind of get that hope, we had to change our goals, and that was to make Daniel's time the best and most fulfilled as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And through, you know, other families and stuff like that, they were like, "Oh, that's a really good idea to do these bucket lists." You know, we kind of like, you know, they didn't waste the time, but they spent a lot of time in the hospital and stuff like that.
Right.
And I mean, Daniel doesn't really get a break. He got out of the hospital for the Frederick Freeze. He spent 3 days in the hospital, and we bounced to the Frederick Freeze game, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard on him, but, you know, we're not going to waste a precious second. So you just change your goal and change your perspective.
I think instead of mourning his death, we were they
Yes.
taught us to celebrate his life, and that's what,
Yep.
you know.
Exactly. Enjoy
If
the
you're
time
in
that you're
spot,
here.
change your
If
view
you
and
don't-
change your perspective.
So from the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank you guys.
Thank
I
you.
think that it's really cool. So now that we're done the episode, we'll let all the people know the truth behind our long-time relationship here. We were doing the pregame show at one of our sponsors, Firehouse Subs, over there on 1700 Kingfisher Drive, and I just randomly reached out to somebody who was involved with the foundation, said, "Man, I wonder if I could get Dan and Kendra on the show." They answered, and I said, "Hey, you think you could call in?" And Dan said, "Where's the show at?" And I told him where it was. He was like, "Can I come on it?" And I was like, "I mean, it's tonight." He was like, "Yeah,